Hi and welcome to Al's Record Room. This time I'm on the other side of my record room where a good part of my LPs are, but there's some on the other side of the room like the 80s and a pile, or I should say a unit quite full of LPs that are waiting for me to play on that side as well. And plus there's two more other units like you could see to the left of me in a spare room that are full of LPs waiting for me to play as well. And then I've got them hiding in a cupboard waiting to be played and in crates as well, you know what I mean? And in the shelves beside me as well, there's records that I haven't played, and the same goes for 45s as well, though I've got absolutely dozens and dozens of records that I haven't not played. But so now onto it, I've got to show you my LPs on this side of the room, so I've got to turn the camera around and here we go. Now, here we have the LPs that are from the 50s to 60s. So that's what this is, it's the 50s to 60s music in my collection. Now, all my index guide things, right, are actually made from, of course, old records that are no good. So they come handy and recycled and made into my index things, as you can see. So that's what that is. That's my 60s LPs. Then down the bottom there we have classical music and other stuff that hasn't been played yet. Then down here, that's mixed 50s to 60s songs, LPs, and more stuff that hasn't been played, and same with that bit. You know what I mean? So there's the 50s to 60s stuff. Now, here we have the 70s LPs in the record collection. So that's the 70s LPs that's in the record collection in this part of the room. The 80s is on the other side, as I said. And of course, there's the 60s again. Now, up on top is where the 45s from the country music are, or I should say, the country 45s are in my collection, are kept on top of the actual shelving for the LPs. Not enough room to get them on the other side, basically. So they're all kept up there. So that's what they are. That's all the country 45s. Well, that's not all of them. There's lots in the others that I haven't played yet as well. So that's my country 45s so far in my collection of 45s that are country music. Now, oh, there again is the 70s stuff. The 50s to 60s and random, and of course the classical. Now, this is something I made to help me count my records in my collection. And what it is, it's magnetic numbers that I made, and it's also colour coded, as you can see by the errors. And the colour code, and CW is country, of course. So CW is country music. Now, the bottom one is what the added count equals up to, so you know what I mean? So that's how many 45s I've got in index but I don't think it's probably accurate, because sometimes you sort of forget one or two here and there, but it gives me a rough estimate of how many I've got in there as it is, but so I'm not sure if it's accurate, but I think that's roughly pretty close to it, but I don't know. So that's my counting board, and of course up here we have these number things that I use for the board when I change the numbers. And of course the abacus part, whoops, we'll fix the camera up. Well, there's the abacus part, that's so I don't lose the plastic counters I used to have. That's why I use the abacus. So that's to stop that problem. So I count by tens. So that's been around for a fair while now. Whoops, going off course. That'll do. That'll fix that. Oh well. Now, of course, back here, this is my stereo. It's a Toshiba direct drive that I found in a rubbish pile and I fixed, and it's been going for a long time. I found it over 20 years ago, and it's got a good needle in it, or I should say stylist. And there's my brushes. And there's some of my 45s. Oh, and my amplifier is a Pioneer 5-channel surround sound, and it's quadraphonic. And there's of course a quadraphonic Phase 4 Decca LP. And of course there's those 45s again. And there's another box of records and more there. And of course all that down there hasn't been played yet. Now, that's one of my synthesizers, a Poly D. And there's my other synthesizer, a Monopoly. Yes, I like to try and play music as well, so I had musical instruments too, like drums and a flute and a clarinet and guitars and whatever, you know what I mean? But I mostly like the synthesizer and the records, of course. The records, if I could, would be non-stop, and I do get to stay home 24/7 and play records as much as I like, when I like. And of course, right, the two top speakers, I found them in a rubbish pile and they work really well. The bottom speakers I paid $50 a set for, or for the set. The amplifier I only paid $80 for. So basically, my stereo, lucky if it cost me $150. You know what I mean? $150 for my stereo. The only thing I have to do is keep on replacing that needle. You know what I mean? That's it. And it really does sound quite nice for an old stereo. And the quadraphonic records, they actually do sound quite really nice being in quadraphonic. So that's enjoyable. Now there's the synthesizers again. There's the other side of my room, and that's where my office is. And of course the other side's looking through there where the light's coming from. Now there's another box sitting down there waiting for me to play. Now, oops. So there's the actual stereo from a distance, and it is quite loud. I can make the windows vibrate. And now, I've got to say, can you please subscribe and like my channel, and thank you for watching my video. And this video has been proudly sponsored by me, Al, that's Al's Record Room. So thank you for watching my video, and please look forward to the next video I make. Thank you from me, that's Al, Al's Record Room. Over and out, bye, see you in the next video.